You've watched the videos, you know the countries: Panama, Colombia, Thailand, Malaysia, the Philippines. You've heard the pitch 100 times, and you've probably thought, okay, but where? Where exactly do I look for an apartment? What street do I walk down? Because here's what none of those videos ever tell you. The difference between thriving and miserable abroad is not the country you pick, it's the neighborhood. Move to the wrong part of Medellín and you'll hate it. Move to the right part and you'll never come home. The gap between a $400 a month apartment and a $1,400 a month apartment in Penang is often literally a few streets. The difference between feeling safe and spending 6 months looking over your shoulder is never the country, it's always the neighborhood. And every retirement video you've ever watched has been operating at the wrong Zoom level. We went past country-level research. We dug into neighborhood-specific threads on expat forums, Facebook groups with 10,000 plus active members, and direct accounts from retirees who've actually moved, not just visited, moved, and reported back on exactly where they ended up. 9 neighborhoods. 1 ranking, worst to best, and stay until number 1. That's the European city absolutely nobody in the retirement space is talking about yet, and where you can live a genuinely European life for under $1,100 a month. That window is still open. It won't be for long. Here's how this list was built. Not from drone footage and sponsored hotel stays. From data. Numbio's neighborhood-level cost of living indexes. Internations and iExpats forums filtered by neighborhood, not by country. Reddit threads where retirees argue in real time about which barrio is worth it right now. We cross-referenced walkability, proximity to English-speaking medical care, infrastructure reliability, and visa frameworks for each country. What you're getting isn't a drone shot of a beach with vague monthly estimates. It's a street-level map, the specific neighborhoods, the real numbers, and the actual catches. Both sides, always, because that's what you actually need. Let's start with a correction. Because if you've done any research on retiring in Colombia, you've heard one name repeated like a mantra: El Poblado, the upscale, cafe-lined, expat-saturated heart of Medellín. And yes, El Poblado is nice. It's safe, walkable, organized, and full of English speakers. It also costs 3 times what it cost 6 years ago, and everyone who got there early will tell you the same thing quietly. They wish they'd gone to Laureles. Laureles sits about 20 minutes west of El Poblado on the other side of the Parque Metropolitano. No tourist bars, no backpackers on pub crawls. Wide, tree-lined residential streets, a central park, bakeries, supermarkets, coffee shops, a real Colombian neighborhood where real people live, and an expat community that chose it precisely because it feels like a place to live rather than a place to perform living abroad. The numbers make the case. A furnished 1-bedroom in El Poblado right now runs $700 to $1,000 a month. The identical apartment in Laureles costs $400 to $600. Total monthly budget for a single retiree in Laureles, $1,100 to $1,400. Medellín's famous spring-like climate, around 72 degrees year-round, applies equally to both neighborhoods. The metro connects you everywhere, and Medellín's private hospitals, Clínica Las Américas and Hospital Pablo Tobón Uribe, are legitimately world-class by any measure. The catch: Spanish is genuinely necessary here. El Poblado lets you coast on English. Laureles does not, and that's part of its appeal. and its limitation. Colombia overall requires situational awareness. Not every block is equal, and the learning curve on which streets to trust takes a few months of honest attention. But if El Poblado is the resort, Laureles is where retirees who've actually stayed build their lives. The distinction matters. Panama keeps appearing on retirement lists for good reasons that have nothing to do with any specific neighborhood: US dollar economy, zero income tax on foreign source income, and the pensionado visa, one of the most generous retirement programs in the world, giving permanent discounts on hotels, medical care, restaurants, and transportation indefinitely. The country framework is genuinely excellent. But where do you actually live? Most content says Panama City and stops there. The real answer is Casco Viejo. Casco Viejo is Panama City's UNESCO World Heritage Historic District, a peninsula of cobblestone streets, 17th century Spanish colonial buildings, wrought iron balconies trailing bougainvillea, rooftop bars overlooking the Bay of Panama, and a restaurant scene that's become genuinely sophisticated. It is, without exaggeration, one of the most beautiful urban neighborhoods in all of Central America. English is widely spoken. Panama's American cultural ties run deep, the dollar is the national currency, and expat infrastructure is well established. A furnished one-bedroom in Casco Viejo runs $600 to $900, reflecting how popular the area has become. Total monthly budget, $1,300 to $1,600. The catches are real, though. Casco is gentrifying fast, and prices are moving in only one direction. Noise is a legitimate issue. Cobblestone streets, rooftop bars, and tropical downpours don't create quiet nights. And Panama City's rainy season, May through November, is not a light drizzle. Flooding happens, building quality varies enormously. Inspect carefully before you sign. But for colonial-era architectural beauty, dollar economy ease, walkability, and the pensionado visa doing real work behind the scenes, Casco Viejo delivers something you feel the moment you arrive. This one surprises people. Peru. Lima, specifically. Most Americans picture Machu Picchu, not retirement, but Lima has quietly become one of the most sophisticated cities in South America, and Miraflores is the neighborhood that explains why. Miraflores is Lima's cliff-top coastal district. Sitting above the Pacific Ocean on the city's western edge, the Malecon, a series of linked parks and promenades running along the bluff, is one of the most dramatically beautiful urban walks anywhere in the world. You're strolling above the ocean, watching paragliders launch from the cliff's edge, the entire Pacific horizon in front of you. It costs nothing. It's 5 minutes from your front door. The neighborhood itself is clean, walkable, safe by Lima's standards, lined with international restaurants, upscale supermarkets, pharmacies, and cafes. Lima has been recognized as the gastronomic capital of South America, and you can feel it in Miraflores. This is where the flagship restaurants of Peru's world-class culinary movement are concentrated. English is spoken in expat and tourist zones. Spanish is needed for daily life beyond those corridors. A furnished one-bedroom in Miraflores runs $500 to $800. Total monthly budget, $1,200 to $1,500. Lima's private hospitals, Clínica Ricardo Palma, Clínica San Pablo, are sophisticated and English-staffed at the specialist level. The catches. Lima is famous for its garua, a low, gray marine fog that settles over Miraflores from June through November. Not rain, not sunshine, just gray. Some people adapt within a month, some find it depressing after 6. Test it in winter before you commit. Traffic beyond Miraflores is genuinely bad, and Spanish is non-negotiable for anything beyond tourist corridors. Still, ocean views, world-class food, European-feeling urban sophistication, real healthcare, inside $1,500 a month. Lima earns its place. Everybody knows Puerto Vallarta. The airport, the resorts, the cruise ships. What most retirement content won't tell you is that Puerto Vallarta proper has gotten expensive and crowded enough that the expats who moved there a decade ago have largely drifted north up the Riviera Nayarit coast, specifically to Bucerías. Bucerías is a small Mexican fishing village about 20 minutes north of the PV airport, sitting on the northern end of Banderas Bay. It is not a resort town. No mega hotels, no cruise terminals. What it has is a long, uncrowded beach, an authentic town square with a functioning church, a weekly artisan market, fresh seafood from boats that went out that morning, and a large enough English-speaking expat community that you'll never feel stranded, while still feeling like you live in Mexico rather than a tourist bubble. A furnished one-bedroom in Bucerías runs $500 to $700. Total monthly budget, $1,100 to $1,400. English is widely spoken. The local economy and the established expat community have produced a full infrastructure of English-speaking doctors, dentists, lawyers, and real estate agents. Access to Puerto Vallarta for specialist care or international flights adds 25 minutes on a good traffic day. The catches. Bucerías sits in the hurricane belt and season runs June through November. It's taken hits. Summer heat and humidity from July through September are intense. This is not a year-round outdoor lifestyle destination in those months. And PV's overall rise in popularity is creeping up the coast, which means Bucerías prices have been moving. But the authentic village feel, the beach, the Mexico you actually imagined for $1,100 to $1,400 a month, that combination is harder to find than it used to be. Bucerías is still delivering it. Chiang Mai is on every retirement list. But Chiang Mai tells you almost nothing useful. It's a city of 130,000 in the foothills of northern Thailand, with neighborhoods that feel completely different from each other. Downtown near the walled old city, the night bazaar area, the university district, all different experiences. Nimman is where the savvy long-term expats actually live. Nimman Road and the Swice branching off it form a compact, walkable, cafe-dense neighborhood built around the western edge of Chiang Mai University. Every second building is a coffee shop. The streets are clean. Gyms, co-working spaces, international grocery stores, yoga studios, and a young, internationally minded local population that makes English feel genuinely native to the area. It's not a tourist zone. It's a livable neighborhood that happens to be extraordinarily convenient. Rent for a furnished one-bedroom in Nimman, $350 to $600. Total monthly budget for a single retiree, $900 to $1,200. Not bare bones, but well. Street food runs $1 to $2 a dish. Good mid-range Thai restaurants charge $4 to $6. Bangkok Hospital Chiang Mai is 10 minutes away and staffed by English-speaking specialists. The catches, and this one is serious, air quality. From late February through April, agricultural burning in the surrounding hills pushes Chiang Mai's air quality index to genuinely unhealthy levels. This is not a minor inconvenience. If you have any respiratory or cardiovascular conditions, this is a hard medical consideration, not a footnote. Thailand's retirement visa requires being 50 or older and maintaining 800,000 baht, roughly $22,000, in a Thai bank account, or showing $2,000 monthly income. Manageable, but bureaucratic to maintain. And Nimman's popularity is driving rents up. But most of the year, nothing in Southeast Asia offers this combination of walkability, food quality, cost, and English-speaking healthcare at this price point. The Philippines has 7,600 islands and more retirement content than almost any other country. And almost all of it makes the same mistake, pointing people toward Manila, which most retirees reject immediately because of the traffic and pollution, or Boracay, which is a tourist island, not a place to build a life. The real answer for a retiree who wants city infrastructure with an island feel is Cebu City. And within Cebu City, the answer is the Lahug and IT Park corridor. IT Park is Cebu's technology and business district, modern, clean, walkable, with 24-hour convenience stores and fast, reliable internet that much of the Philippines can't match. Lahug, adjacent and more residential, is quieter without giving up the infrastructure. Together, they give you what most expats actually need: modernity, food access, English everywhere, and healthcare close by, without the chaos of downtown Cebu. English is an official language of the Philippines, full stop. You will not struggle to communicate in Lahug. Not at the doctor, not with your landlord, not at the bank. This is one of the most seamlessly English-speaking urban environments in all of Asia, and it's genuinely not close. Rent for a furnished one-bedroom in Lahug or IT Park, $350 to $550. Total monthly budget, $900 to $1,200 for a retiree living well, not frugally. The Special Resident Retiree Visa, the SRRV, offers indefinite residency with no annual renewal, plus government-mandated discounts for SRRV holders at hotels, restaurants, and medical facilities. That's not a vague perk. That's formal, legally guaranteed value. The catch is, Cebu City is in a typhoon risk zone. Not the highest risk area in the country, but not immune. Rush hour traffic around IT Park is genuinely bad. And for serious specialist care, Manila or travel abroad remains the reference standard. But English without compromise, modern infrastructure, an SRRV doing real financial work, and a budget under $1,200? Ear. Penang as a country-level pick has been covered. What almost nobody specifies is the neighborhood. And the neighborhood is everything here. Most content either says Penang Island as though that settles it, or sends you to generic expat developments on the island's northern coast. Neither is the real answer. Georgetown is the real answer. Georgetown is Penang's historic core, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most visually extraordinary neighborhoods in Southeast Asia. Centuries-old Chinese shophouses in terracotta and ochre, British colonial government buildings, Hindu temples, clan houses, mosques, and the most celebrated street art collection in Asia, all within a neighborhood you can walk across in 20 minutes. And it's not a museum, it is a living neighborhood. The hawker centers are still there, still operating the way they have for 100 years, serving char kway teow, Penang laksa, and Hokkien mee for $1 to $3 a dish. Night markets, fresh squeezed sugarcane juice at 7 a.m., pharmacies on every block. It functions. English is the practical lingua franca of Georgetown. Penang's ethnic diversity, Chinese, Malay, Tamil, and Expat, means English is often the neutral, common language between neighbors. You will not feel foreign. Rent for a furnished one-bedroom in a renovated shophouse or modern apartment in Georgetown, $400 to $650. Total monthly budget, $1,000 to $1,300. Penang's internationally accredited hospitals, Gleneagles, Penang Adventist, Island Hospital, are 20 to 30 minutes by Grab. The catches. The heat is relentless, 88 to 92 degrees with high humidity every day, year-round. Some expats acclimatize within months, some never do. The MM2H visa underwent a major overhaul in 2021 and became significantly more expensive and financially demanding. Monitor current requirements carefully and budget for a local agent. In Georgetown's most beautiful apartments, renovated shophouses can have noise and maintenance challenges that polished modern developments don't. But UNESCO architecture, legendary food culture, English at every turn, and first world private healthcare under $1,300 a month, Georgetown at number 3 is arguably underselling it. Here's the European entry, and before you say too expensive, hear the numbers first. Split is Croatia's second city, a port on the Dalmatian coast where the Adriatic runs a shade of blue that photographers travel from across the world to capture. The Old City, Diocletian's Palace, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site that has been continuously inhabited since the 4th century. People live inside Roman ruins. It is one of the genuinely most extraordinary urban environments on Earth. Everyone knows Split exists. What almost nobody has done is identify the specific neighborhoods that make it livable rather than just beautiful. Stari Grad, the old city inside Diocletian's Palace, is the postcard. It's also a tourist machine in summer, packed with day trippers, with restaurant prices to match. Don't live there. Bačvice and Meje are where the locals and the serious expats live. Bačvice is the beach neighborhood immediately south of the old city, home to the famous Pikigin Beach, a uniquely Dalmatian tradition played in the shallows. The neighborhood is young, cafe-dense, energetic, and walkable to the historic center without being inside the tourist zone. Meje is quieter further west along the coast, more residential, tree-lined, local, and peaceful in a way Bačvice isn't always. English is so widely spoken in Split it barely warrants discussion. Croatia's younger generations learn it from childhood, and the growing tech and nomad community has deepened it further. Croatia launched a digital nomad visa in 2021, and temporary residence for retirees is accessible. Croatia is an EU member. Healthcare infrastructure and safety meet European standards. Rent for a furnished one-bedroom in Bačvice or Meje, $600 to $900. Total monthly budget, $1,200 to $1,500. A full meal at a local canoba away from the tourist zone, $10 to $15. Adriatic seafood on a Tuesday because it's available and affordable. The catches. Split is being discovered aggressively. Rental prices have jumped in the past 3 years as remote workers and retirees arrived in volume. Winters, November through February, are genuinely cold and gray, and the city slows dramatically. Croatian bureaucracy is slow, and residency processes require language or a reliable local lawyer. And while English is everywhere socially, Croatian is necessary for navigating government offices. But European coastline, Roman ruins, genuine safety, real infrastructure, and a budget that fits inside $1,500. Bačvice and Meje are the specific answer in Croatia, and this is the one nobody's talking about. Not Bosnia broadly, not Sarajevo as a city-level recommendation, Grbavica, a specific residential neighborhood on the south bank of the Miljacka River in one of the most historically layered, culturally alive, and genuinely beautiful cities in Europe. Say the name, Sarajevo. If you know it at all, you know it from a history book. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand in 1914, the Winter Olympics in 1984, the siege in the 1990s that the world watched on television. What you almost certainly don't know is that Sarajevo in 2025 is a living, breathing, cafe-dense European city where Ottoman mosques, Austro-Hungarian architecture, Orthodox churches, and Catholic cathedrals exist within 2 blocks of each other, where East met West for 5 centuries, and still does. Grbavica, built largely in the socialist Yugoslav period with wide avenues, green spaces, tram lines, and residential apartment blocks, is where Sarajevans actually live, real city. Not the tourist zone of Bashkarshija with its copper craftsmen and Turkish coffee stalls. The actual neighborhood of a real European capital. Rent for a furnished 1-bedroom in Grbavica, $300 to $450. Let that sit for a moment. In a European capital city. Total monthly budget for a single retiree living genuinely well, $900 to $1,100. Groceries from the neighborhood market cost almost nothing by any Western comparison. Coffee at a local kafana runs under $1. Dinner of Bosnian cevapi, pita, and fresh mountain trout at a neighborhood restaurant costs $6 to $10. The tram to the old city costs pennies. This is not a Spartan budget. At this price point in Grbavica, you are living well. English is not as universal here as in Split or Penang. Among younger Sarajevans, it's increasingly common and widely spoken. Among older residents, less so. But here's what consistently surprises expats who actually move here. Bosnians are among the most hospitable, curious, and genuinely welcoming people in Europe. There's a warmth toward outsiders, rooted partly in a culture of coffee and conversation that's almost impossible to overstate, that compensates for any language gap in ways that matter day to day. Healthcare in Bosnia is developing. Private clinics in Sarajevo are affordable and increasingly capable, and the city has a functioning public system. For serious specialist care, Zagreb is 2 hours by road and Vienna is reachable. These are the realistic reference points, and they need to be factored into your planning and insurance strategy. The honest catches: Bosnian winters are cold, real cold. Sarajevo sits in a mountain bowl, the same mountains that hosted the 1984 Winter Olympics, and temperatures drop well below freezing from December through February. If you're here for warm weather retirement, this is not that. Bosnia's long-stay residency process is manageable but requires patience and ideally a local fixer or lawyer who knows the system. Infrastructure outside the city center can feel uneven compared to Western Europe, and parts of the country carry political complexity that's worth understanding before you arrive. But here's what makes Grbavica number one, and makes it number one by a meaningful margin. There is nowhere else in Europe on this list or any list where $1,000 a month buys you a comfortable apartment in a city with genuine culture, architecture, history, safety, tram access, and a standard of living that feels European. The window in Georgetown is narrowing. The window in Split is narrowing. The window in Grbavica is still wide open. The retirees who find it now are paying what Medellin's El Poblado cost in 2014 in a European city on a continent with medical infrastructure behind it. That is not going to last. The information exists, the decision is yours. Nine neighborhoods. Let's bring it home fast. Laureles in Medellín, not El Poblado where everyone tells you to go, but where the smart money moved when El Poblado stopped being affordable. Casco Viejo in Panama City, colonial beauty, dollar economy, and the pensionado visa working behind every transaction. Miraflores in Lima, Pacific Cliff promenades, world-class food, and private hospitals that speak English and charge a fraction of US rates. Bucerías on the Riviera Nayarit, authentic Mexico, a long, uncrowded beach, no resort prices, and Puerto Vallarta 20 minutes away when you need it. Nimman in Chiang Mai, walkable, cafe-dense, the most affordable city infrastructure in Southeast Asia, with air quality as the one honest asterisk you need to take seriously. Lahug and IT Park in Cebu, English without compromise, modern infrastructure, and an SRRV visa that delivers real, legally mandated value. Georgetown in Penang, UNESCO heritage streets, legendary hawker food, English everywhere, first world healthcare, under $1,300 a month. Bačvice and Meje in Split, the Adriatic, Roman ruins, EU infrastructure, a genuinely livable European city inside $1,500. And Grbavica in Sarajevo. Europe, $1,000 a month, a window that is still open, and a city that will genuinely surprise you. Here's what all 9 of these have in common. None of them is the first answer you'd get if you typed the country name into a search bar. They are the second answer, the one that exists after the first wave of expats did the work and reported back. Country-level content tells you where to point the compass. Neighborhood-level content tells you where to put the key. That's the distinction. That's why this matters. The world is wider than the country-level videos suggest, and the window on some of these, Grbavica, Bucerías, Lahug, is open right now in a way it won't be in 5 years. The retirees who moved to Medellín in 2012 didn't know El Poblado was about to triple in price. The people who find Grbavica in 2025 are living that same inflection point, on the right side of it. One last thing, we've mapped where to live, but some cities that looked like deals 2 years ago have had the ground shift, politically, economically, and in terms of how welcome Americans actually feel on the ground in 2026. The destinations where the math still works, and the ones where it used to and quietly doesn't anymore. That research is already done, and it's right there on your screen. Because a great retirement isn't just finding the right neighborhood. It's knowing which ones to cross off the list before you book the flight.